Well, hey everybody, just waiting for people to get in. Come on in. Great to see you. And in case you didn't know what you just hopped on, this is DYI hair oil brought to you by Empowerment. My name is Doctor, and I am come in, just listen to music, getting vibes together. Hopefully you have your yarrow, oil, which as you can see, I don't have my oil right here, so I'll have to grab my oil. But yeah, so come in, listen to the music, and we'll get started about 5 after to get everybody in. Hey, hey, how are you guys? Just sit back and listen to the music, just waiting for everyone to come in for the workshop. Thank you for being here. This is the Holistic Empowerment DYI Hair Oil Workshop. And you might be wondering why I'm upside down, but this is my way so you can see all my ingredients. So if you have your decarb cannabis, this is my CBD and a little bit of THC, 3 ounces, and then this is just some regular. My yarrow that I have, I'm using avocado oil. So if you have avocado oil, want to get that. I have a pot that's already a mechanism that warms up my herbs. But if you have just a regular hot pot on the stove, we're going to do like a double boiler effect. And I'll show you a little bit later when we get to that part. But if you want, you just get you a big pot, put some water in it, then put another pot in there. I know that sounds kind of crazy, so maybe I should just show you what I mean by that. So I'll show you. Let's hold. All right. So what I have here, so you see the pot with the water. Then I have a bowl, or you can just use a regular pot. And then here's my glass jar. If you have an ardent or something that kind of keeps the time too. And so here's my ardent, and you can see that I've been decarbing cannabis in there. So come on in and get your ingredients, and then you'll need a scale, some measuring cups, or even a regular spoon, a third cup, a measuring cup, and then a mason jar. So you saw my mason jar. You'll need another one, just so we can just cut down on the mess. So we'll start in just a minute. I'll let you go and get those things. So can we start in about 5 minutes? I'll give you some time to go and get those things and just have them laid out. See you soon. All right, so let's get started. We had a couple of questions in the chat as we were waiting. And Chris wanted to know what is a D. So let's get started. Sorry, what is decarb? How do you decarb cannabis? So decarbing your cannabis is activated. So when you roll it up in the joint and cannabis starts in a raw form like this, and that's THCA, which is an acidic form. And when you warm it up, it knocks off the A, which makes it just THC. So you can use either the ardent, which I showed you before, which is a really good method. It's owned by a woman, if you like to support a woman, a black woman at that. She made it. It's like wonderful. I've had it since 2020. But that's one of the ways. You just pop it in there, you set the button, and it goes. But I know that a lot of people don't have that, so you can actually use a cookie sheet and you spread out your cannabis, and you want to bake it in the oven on low for like 100. Don't go over 120. And once it turns like a brownish color, then it's ready, it's activated, and that's where you get the full effect of your cannabis, where you get that high. So just having a acidic form, it won't get you high or anything. It's just the medicine that will be in your system. So if you have your decarb cannabis now, grab that out, and we're gonna measure it out right now. So you're gonna need a glass jar, like I said, and and if you have a scale, I don't know if I told you guys if you have a scale. If you don't, it's not a real biggie. You don't really need a scale. I'm always the one that's like, show me the easy way, the easy and the fastest way, because I'm always on the go. So that's why I love my ardent, because you can bake in the ardent, you can infuse in there, and you can decarb. Like, hey, these are the things that you really want to do. So we're going to tear it out, and we're going to measure out our cannabis. So we need 5 grams of cannabis. Already decarb cannabis, which this is already 5 grams. And then you take your yarrow. This is like the fastest thing, the fastest way. I'm going to show you the fast way, and then I'll show you another way that you get all the full benefits in there. So we're going to measure out our yarrow, and we want a cup of yarrow. So you have your measuring cup out here, and then you're just going to pour it in here. I said a measuring spoon because we don't want the mess. I hope I'm not in your way. You can actually see me do it. So this is a half a cup of yarrow. It looked like this. And then, of course, I did not get my... So then you want your rosemary. And you're going to take your rosemary and take it off the sprigs and place them in here. So I picked up the wrong rose. Well, I shouldn't say that. I picked up some bad rosemary. I went to the grocery store, and it was half of it was moldy, and I don't want that in my hair. Not only am I allergic to mold, but who wants mold in their hair? So I do apologize for that. But we all know what your rosemary is, so you're gonna just take them off of your stick. One of the questions that was in the chat was, where do you find yarrow? So yarrow is indigenous to Michigan. So if you're in Michigan, you probably can find it anywhere. I bought mine from Mountain Rose. I do have a affiliate link, which I probably should give, but I'm just gonna pop that in the chat. It's called Mountain Rose, and you can get 4 ounces or a pound. Or hey, call me. I have yarrow. I definitely have. This is just one of my containers of yarrow that I have. Yarrow is one of those, and you'll see when you get your instructions. But yarrow is so good for so many things, especially if a person hikes. You do not want to leave home without yarrow, because if you scrape your leg or get a cut, you can chew it on. If you follow my Instagram, you'll see that I made this poultice, and you just put it in your mouth, chew it up, and make a spit. I'll show you. We have some time, so I will show you. So this is if you're out on a hike. I don't recommend this if you're at home, only just because it's nasty. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not one of those people that say, hey, just do it. So you'll put it in your mouth. So let's say you saw some yarrow, you'll stick it, you'll pull it off the tree. Pull it up in your mouth. Don't swallow it. And you'll stick it in, and it'll look like, okay, I'm trying to find my camera. Oh, here we go. Okay, there we go. There we go. And you'll stick it on your cut or your bite, and it will heal and hold you. So if it's something that's, even if you're bleeding profusely, this is what you want. It stops the blood. It's good for your blood. It is a little bitter, and that's why I said, oh, you don't want to you don't want it in your mouth. But if you're at home and this happens, and your kid comes in, or you're out in the yard and it happens to you, and you cut, all you have to do is just put it in a bowl, add a little bit of warm water until you get a paste, or kind of like what the spit, the kind that looks like spit, what that looks like, and then stick it on as well. So I do recommend yarrow. This is like my plant ally. I've been working with yarrow for the last almost a year, and just manipulating and trying in different things. I've used it in a topical, and that's how I came across with the hair. And I tell you, every day I'm finding something new of what yarrow helps. Next to cannabis, I would say it's like my go-to, my wonder herb. Like it's good for everything. All right, so we have our yarrow, we have our cannabis, and then we have our rosemary in there. So next we're going to add the oil. Okay, so we are going to need, this is what I need. So we need 15 ounces. Like I told you, I'm going to teach you the right way, then I'm going to teach you the easy way. How to just eyeball it all. That is just me. That's how I wing my life. It's just, I'm winging it. Okay. So if you guys weren't here, I would probably just pour the oil until it covers. But since you are here, I'm going to measure it out. On here, I'm going to tear this out to 0, and I'm going to add ounces. And what, so I have a half a cup would do what it should do to cover it all up. I have in your ingredients 10 to 15 ounces, but the rule of thumb is whatever milligrams you have, cut it in half. So if you have 300 milligrams of the herbs, then you'll need 150. 200, then you'll need 100. So that's your rule of thumb. But sometimes if you ever look at the recipes, especially when you're dealing with oils and herbs, it kind of depends on the herbs, because some herbs are denser than others. So you'll be pouring forever. And then sometimes, you won't. Okay. So you want to make sure that the oil covers your herbs. Let me check and make sure if there's any questions in the chat, and then we can keep going. So once you have that, then I want you to get the pot that we talked about. Start warming up your water. You want to bring your water to a boil. So I'm going to not leave you. Bring you with me. And we're going to turn. I'm going to take this pot out. It'll be helpful. You can see that. And turn my oil on. Turn the water. We're going to heat the water up until we get to a boil. Once we get to a boil, then we'll put the other pot in there with our herbs. I gotta switch that out. Okay, I'm away from my phone, so if you have any questions, just give me a second and I'll read that to you. I'll read them. Okay, so we don't have any questions just yet. And if I'm going too fast, just let me know. And the most important thing that I forgot, before you work on any herb or anything that you cook, set your intentions. So we want to ground. I did it before I started, so that's why I forgot. But set your intention. So I want you to stop now while we're waiting for the water to boil, and set your intentions. How do you want this oil to feel? How do you want it to come out? To look, where you want it to go. I set my intentions that I want it to be nourishing to you guys, and that you are able to learn, and it equips you to want to do this again and on your own. So everyone that's here, you will get well, you can come up on my website and see it, or on here on YouTube, and the instructions. I definitely will be putting it in the I'll email you the instructions so you can do it yourself. So my water is boiling now, as you can see. I'm gonna put the pan in here. We're gonna turn this down and to a simmer, and let it go. Now, I took a little bit out so I could show you how to put it. If you use what I use, this is like a tempering. I think it'll help if I open it. It'll help if I turn it on, plug it in. It gets hot. This is where I make all my salves and all. If I don't use my so I'll put this in here, and I will add, of course, the oil, more oil to it, and let it cook it on low, and let it go. So now, let's put this back here. So as those are cooking, you want to make sure that we're stirring your pot up, making sure that getting all that goodness, it should turn green. Want it to turn. Now, here's the not so fast way, but the best way is you don't use it right away. So what you're going to do is let it stir it up, let it cook till it gets hot, till it warms up. Then you're going to take it off, let it cool down, and then tomorrow repeat that for 72 hours. And that way you're extracting all the goodness that you can get. Here's a question. What is the best oil to use? Or is there any certain kinds of oil? So, good question. Thank you for your question. Me, I use avocado oil. Olive oil doesn't do well in my hair at all. It just like slides down. Coconut oil. But I know a lot of people that love coconut oil. So I say use the best oil that's good for your hair type. Castor oil is really good, and it promotes hair growth as well. Olive oil, castor oil, even mineral oil. I know a lot of people are like, what? Because so I would say use that more than I would say those four are like the best oil. But if you have a hair oil that you can use, I just like to use more natural stuff. So anything that I make, you could eat. I would recommend eating, but you can eat. It's only gonna be a couple of ingredients. How you find it. I am what you call like the purist, the naturalist person. I know that sometimes. Okay, I'm getting feedback. I'm so sorry for that. That you did not, but this is how I'm able to follow my check. I am cut off. Yeah, so those are the oils that are probably the best. Avocado oil, olive oil, coconut oil, castor oil, or mineral. And you can play with it. Maybe do 2 oils or do 3 oils. I even heard of peanut oil. That's one of the things that I want to try next. So I might have host another one with peanut oil. I mean, if you have a peanut allergy, of course, that won't help. But if you don't, that might be a good oil because it's that kind of thickness that you need, especially in the wintertime. We don't want a light oil in the wintertime. We need something that's going to protect your hair. And then you put this in the scalp. So here, I already have oil ready, so you can see. I love the power of TV. And I'm trying to so you can see how green it is, but my phone, okay, I'm just going to take it down. I was trying not to do that. Okay, so here is my oil that I use. I just washed my hair, and this is what I usually put it in before I condition my hair. And then I wash it out, of course. And then when I come out, I put more oil and I blow dry it with this oil. I also made a solid, that's why I look so crazy because I've been using it. I made a solid one of the same oil. So I use both of those if I'm going to straighten my hair or something like that. That's what I'll use. Now, if you have any more questions, I would love to answer it. So right now, let's stir up our pot and making sure our oil is, or our herbs is okay. So want to stir up that one and then stir up this one and making sure that oil is really getting in there. Making sure that the oil is really covering up those herbs. It takes, like I said, it's a quick process to start with it, but it takes a long time to get the medicine that you want. So please ask more questions. I don't want to drag it out, and plus we don't want to stay for 2-3 hours just watching each other. But if you have more questions, definitely ask right now while we're here. Keep checking into your herbs, seeing if they're warm. If you know anything about cannabis, if you have any questions about that. I know a lot of people were asking which one to use. Should they use CBD? Should they use THC? CBG? I didn't even put CBG on there. So when I make mine, the oil that you saw here, I guess this would have been better if I did that. The oil that you saw here, this one is CBD, CBG, and THC, and THCA. Though either one of those will be good. If you don't have all of them, then just use one. If you have, all of them, that's always great. The more the merrier. The more medicine, the better it is. And it can get costly, but then it doesn't have to be. You can just do a CBD. I just say to use one that has a good source. You get it from a good place. We don't just get it from the grocery store, or well, I guess you can buy buds from the grocery store anyway. But you might say, hey, I'm gonna cut down time, because I always say cut down time, Sandra Lee. You don't want to just buy that oil from there. I wouldn't recommend it. I would say just go and get the buds and do it yourself. If decarbon doesn't take that long, 2 hours on 100-degree in your oven, or if you get an ardent, I believe it's 2 hours in the ardent. I never think about it. How many times a day can I use it, or how often should I use it? So I say I will use it once a day, because anytime you put oils and things into your scalp, you don't want that buildup. So once a day, unless your hair is dry, and you probably, I shouldn't even say once a day. I would say once every other day, maybe 2 days. So just check into your hair. This is where you get like self-awareness, checking in and see, hey, is my hair dry? Is my scalp feeling dry? Because especially with women, as we get older, our skin tends to dry out more, especially as we're going through that change of life. So you might need it often, but if you're young, you may only need it once a week. So it really depends on you and how often. And if you're drinking your water, so that's something too. We got to make sure that we're staying hydrated. So if you're drinking water, you're eating healthy, not foods that's like a lot of salt, because that tends to dry you out as well, then you might need it a little bit more. But if you're not doing those things, then less. If you're taking care of yourself and staying hydrated, you don't need it. And you know what? You can probably use it on your face. I wouldn't use a lot of it, but just a little bit to bring that moisture out. Because like I said, you already see, you only use natural products. Olive oil is good. Coconut oil is good. I don't believe in using like essential oils and things like that. I know a lot of people do. They'll use like tea tree oil or something. For me, I want to use as less ingredients as possible. But tea tree oil is very good for your scalp. So maybe you want to add that if you're having some kind of like dryness, as long as your scalp is not open, like open sores, or you have psoriasis or something like that, then I would recommend it. I do want to say, and I should start it with that preference, that I am not a doctor. I am a herbalist, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not a professional. So please always speak to your doctor before you start any kind of regimen for hair, body, or anything. It's always best to just include your doctor, asking your doctor what they think of it. So is there any other questions? And this is really a quick lesson. Let's go over and kind of check our oils before I let you go. Or our herbs. Check our herbs and see if it's hot. Yeah, they're still a little cold, so keep them as a simmer. And a word to wise, whenever you are using herbs, whether you're making a tea or a salve, you always cook on low. It's the most important, because once you start boiling them, it loses its medicine. So we want to make sure that we are using the value, what we're using it for, right? So keeping it low, slow. Sometimes it does take a while, but hey, you want the medicine, you want it good, because if we didn't arrive to this part of illness overnight, it took a long time. So it's going to take a minute for it to heal. Okay, so our herbs are nice and warm. They're heated up. We stirred them. It's been 72 hours. So now we get a strainer. And with the strainer, we want to pour it into a clean, make sure that's very important, a clean glass. And we strain it out. Of course, I did not get my Always need a spatula. And we're going to have, and just keep doing this. Now, this strainer is, I figure everybody has a strainer, but it is great to have a cheesecloth to do it, because it will get all of your, or rice, what is it called? A rice strainer. As you can tell, I never use that. I only use a cheesecloth, but it's called a ricer. That will extract all the oils out of there, so we're not leaving any of that goodness into the into your pot. We want to make sure that we're getting it all in all the oils, and then I already showed you it will come out and it will look like this. So let me grab. Oops. Grab this, and so it will come out in your and look like. So we're going to transfer. So once we get the oil out, sorry for making noises, we will get a funnel, a clean funnel, and it's hard to balance all this on one hand. Okay, so you'll get a funnel. You have your funnel, you have your bottle, and then we just pour our oil in. I'm trying to show you and trying to, okay. Making sure that, of course, we already talked about that the last time, is making sure that your oil is cooled off, of course. I don't recommend using a plastic bottle, but for me, that was the only thing that I can find that had the applicator on there. So if you can find a glass bottle that has an applicator, or maybe just storing it, as you can see, I store my my oil in a glass container, and then I just heat it up, put it in there, or I'll let it sit out and put it in there. I just wanted to make sure that I showed you how to strain it, and then notes of making sure that you're getting everything out, all your oil, all your oils, all your medicine. So if you have any other questions, and I'm so sorry, I'm like, okay, we got to make sure that we're showing them how to strain it out. It's really easy. Like I said, you'll have it for 72 hours. Just keep reheating, but making sure that we don't overheat it, we don't burn it. That's very important. So keeping it at a low simmer. And you just let it stay covered for 2 hours. All of it will be in your instructions, but I wanted to make sure that I let you know beforehand. So thank you for being here and rocking with me. Thank you for your patience, and be on the lookout for the next one. See you later. Thanks. Or if you have any other questions, I can stick around for another 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, just to see um, if anyone has any more questions. Has anyone ever used yarrow? This was my first time ever hearing about it at the beginning of the year. And like I said, every day I'm hearing something, another benefit of yarrow. The list goes long to where you're like, okay, it's the snake oil, but I can say my hair grew so much and so long. I was bald. And I have pictures. If you go onto my Instagram, you will see that I was very bald. And now I have hair. I have, thinning in the back of my head. And now my hair has grown back. And that was after, I started seeing growth after, I would say, a couple of weeks. Yeah, I was very excited about it. Anything that's going to help me grow my hair. I just really want to get it back to the thickness. And it's funny because when I was a kid, they used to say, "Oh, your hair's so thick," and I used to think that was a bad thing. Like, oh my God, I don't want my hair thick. I want it long. I'm so grateful that it was thick because when it fell out, nobody knew. You couldn't even tell because I had so much hair. I knew, and my hairdresser knew, but we were the only two. So now, when I can really show it, like, hey, look at my scalp, look at all these things, look at all my follicles. Hey, rosemary is good for when you having that itching. So if you have itchy hair, you might. And then another thing with that, I'm sorry, I'm always all over the place. But another thing with even with the yarrow or all of the herbs, you can play with the ingredients. And what I mean by that, maybe not use as much yarrow and use more rosemary, or not use as much cannabis or no cannabis at all. You don't really have to use the cannabis. I just know that when I first started manipulating and using cannabis, that was where my hair oil was. And it worked. It didn't work as well as the yarrow did. Once I used the yarrow, my hair just grew. Yeah, so we added the rosemary after we added the yarrow. So it was the cannabis first, the yarrow, then we used the rosemary, then we added oil. And I use avocado oil, but someone else in the chat asks, is there a different oil that they could use? Yes, use oil that you've been using for your hair that works for your hair. Like I said, coconut oil, everybody loves coconut oil, but it makes my scalp itch. So that doesn't work for me. Castor oil is really good. Castor oil is just good for you, period. For like pains, sprains, and aches, use castor oil. And I know when we were kids, you get a cough or you stopped up. They running to get the castor oil, but actually castor oil is good using it externally and not so much internally. So you can add that oil, you can put it on a cloth and then put it on, let's say if it's your wrist that's pain. If you have pain in your wrist, you can soak a cloth and put that castor oil on it and then wrap it up and put maybe a heating pad on there and let that sit. So castor oil is really good. The same with your hair. It promotes growth in your hair. What other one? That's the castor oil, olive oil. Olive oil is good, but it doesn't really do anything with my hair. It just sits. So it doesn't bring any moisture. I have not used peanut oil, but that's my next one. So be looking out for that. Peanut oil and um, help me out now. Peanut oil, castor oil, mineral oil. That was a surprise to me. Mineral oil is really good too. It brings that oil, that moisture into your hair. But like I said, you want to be careful. You don't want to use it every day. I don't think anybody's hair is that dry that you need it every day. Then making sure that we're drinking enough water. Are we eating our fruits and vegetables? Are we hydrating ourselves, keeping ourselves hydrated? That may be something that you need to check, and not so much as the hair. So treat the problem, not the symptom. That's one of the biggest things that I try to teach. Treat the problem and not the symptom. Because if you using hair oil every day, then that means there's a bigger problem, a bigger issue. And thank you all for I just put up the ingredients, the instructions list. If you missed that, thank you for coming and being here. Thank you for all the wonderful questions. I appreciate you guys. If you need me, you can find me on IG at holistic underscore empowerment, or you can find me on Facebook at Tiffany Culture. It is private, but if you send me something, I'll definitely let you in. My business page is Holistic Empowerment. If you want to reach out via my website, it's www.fibrowomenwarriors. So that's www.fibrowomen WARRIORS.com. Woo! I got it. That was a lot. Fibro Women Warriors. And as always, thank you for coming. If you have any more questions, I'll stick around for a minute. Like I said, I just wanted to value everyone's time. So be patient. I love you guys. And you all have a beautiful rest of the day. And thank you for coming. Please look out for me. I will be doing more workshops. So tell your friends about it. Within the next couple of weeks, you'll see it. I'm also doing yoga. I'll be doing yoga classes, some online and then some in person here in Michigan. Reiki and sound bath. Definitely I'll be doing like sound bath shorts coming up shortly. So see you guys later. Like I said, get at me on Instagram or my website. I love you. Thank you. Peace.